was Peter Dixon's.
We got a full profile, so it would be less than 1 in a billion people you would get as a chance match. So it was incredibly strong evidence.
I don't mind saying it, but it was quite an emotional moment. That golden nugget that we had craved for so long had suddenly been presented to us. We now had a link to a double murder. I was confident that was just going to be the start of many more.
Sure enough, more evidence was found on the shotgun the team had identified as a potential murder weapon.
It was found in a hedge and it was linked to John Cooper by a screw from his shed. Basically a screw from a little pot in his green shed was the screw that came out of a hole in that gun.
The team observed the barrels had been painted black. Underneath that paint, blood DNA had been preserved.
They found the blood of Peter Dixon on the breech end of the gun and on the barrel of the gun. It's at that stage we knew that we'd found the murder weapon.
By John Cooper painting the barrels, he's actually gone and preserved the evidence for us.
Dyfed-Powys police now had evidence that John Cooper had executed Peter and Gwenda Dixon on the coastal path near Little Haven.
Even though I knew the sort of person he was, I just didn't want any of that to be true. I didn't. I mean, to kill someone for just a few £100, to kill someone anyway, but I mean, they were executed for a few £100. I'm still trying to get my head around that one. I really am.
To strengthen their case, police wanted to connect Cooper to a description of a man seen using Peter Dixon's cash card.
From the Huntsman inquiry, it had been identified that he'd appeared on Bullseye.
John and Harvey with £220, please.
In securing that material, it was identified by ITV themselves that there was a profile which effectively it was like a tracing of that artist's impression. John Cooper took part in the filming of that programme just over 3 weeks before Peter and Gwenda Dixon were murdered. For me, that was a crucial piece of evidence.
What are you going to do?
We'd like to gamble.
There it is. I'll take this one here.
But why would a violent criminal risk appearing on national television?
John Cooper felt that he was untouchable. That would have not raised an issue with him, the fact that he would go on to national television and people would see him. I think actually probably enjoyed that attention.
20.
It's attracted within the local community.
And 126.
He would have seen it as a challenge to go on. Even so, he still gambles. That's what it means, compulsive. They just can't give it up, can they?
As he had done throughout his life, Cooper gambled and lost.
Oh, unlucky.
Just 3 weeks later, he murdered Peter and Gwenda Dixon.
But we're just moving into position now.
In May 2009, Dyfed-Powys police arrested John Cooper for murder. This footage was filmed by the police.
He's kicked off. He's kicked off. They're in round the corner. He's kicked off.
Cooper had only been out of prison for 6 months, but police were relieved to have him back in custody.
On his arrest, we found in his car there was a rope, there was gloves, and we're also aware that he had got an ordnance survey map of parts of Pembrokeshire. I think it was only a matter of time before he would have started to commit burglaries, go on to robberies, and I've got no doubt that had the circumstances prevailed, he would have murdered again.
He was taken to Haverfordwest police station to be interviewed. The purpose was to connect Cooper to the exhibits that had been forensically linked to the murders.
During the interview, what we did, we showed him the artist's impression of the suspect who used the Dixon's cash card, and we also showed him his shorts.
Would you accept that those shorts resemble the shorts in the artist impression?
Not a bit, no.
Okay, but those shorts, have you ever seen the shorts in this photograph TWB1 before?
I believe those are my bathers, actually.
Okay.
Because he thought that we were looking for the similarities in those shorts to the artist's impression, he happily admitted that the shorts were his shorts, and and that for us was key.
Then, without realising, Cooper incriminated himself further.
Those are long-legged shorts.
You're pointing a difference then, you say that they're not similar and that they're longer on the artist's impression?
Well, those are short-legged shorts, that's long-legged shorts.
Police asked forensic scientists to examine the shorts again. They had been shortened, possibly by Cooper's wife.
They unstitched the hem, and inside the hem they found a DNA profile which matched Julie Dixon, who was the daughter of Gwenda and Peter Dixon.
We believed then is that those shorts probably were taken from Peter Dixon's rucksack. Because there would have been no other reason as to how Julie's DNA came onto those shorts under the hem.
Cooper had kept the shorts for 10 years.
I think it gives us an insight into John Cooper as an individual. I think that's part and parcel of Cooper, was that control element, that he had things, memento, to remind him of his offending.
Soon, forensic scientists began to uncover fibre matches.
You very, very rarely find any fibres that match. And where you do, it's really only one or two fibres. So if you find them in number, it means something. If you find them in combination, it means something. And if you find two-way transfer, it all means something.
When Cooper was arrested in 1998 for burglary, police took sweepings from his shed. Fibres were found in those sweepings from gloves and a balaclava left in a hedge near Cooper's house. Scientists looked for matching fibres on exhibits from the 4 murders and a violent sexual attack on teenagers in Milford Haven.
As time started to unfold, virtually on a daily basis, we were having phone calls. Fibres from gloves that he abandoned were found in the clothing and underwear of the rape victim from the Milford Haven attack. Fibres from one of those gloves was found in the sewn hem of the shorts that we recovered from his house. Fibres found in the pockets of those shorts were linked to fibres found on the socks of Richard Thomas from the Scoverson murders.
Cooper's habit of storing and reusing his offending toolkit meant fibres from each crime could be traced back to him. Faced with the forensic evidence, Cooper still refused to admit his guilt, even pointing the finger at his own son.
Have you any explanation to give as to how that blood could have innocently appeared on the shorts?
I really do not know. As I said, my wife sourced the shorts. Maybe from Percy, maybe from a shop. I don't know, wherever she sourced.
Okay.
More worryingly is my son used to take my clothes whenever he wanted it, and that would be more of a worry for a father.
I couldn't believe it. I was gobsmacked. I think that of all the things he's done to me, I think that was the lowest thing I ever saw him do. That was a hard thing to hear your own father say about you.
I believe that you were responsible for the murder of Helen and Richard Thomas, and also the murders of Gwenda and Peter Dixon.
All I can say is I'm sorry if you've got that opinion, but you're totally wrong.
When I've pushed him a bit on how he always blamed everybody else for everything that's ever gone wrong in his life, it sort of flicked a bit of a switch within him, I think, and that's the time we've seen the sort of different side to him.
You're making things try to fit to John Cooper, and it's bloody annoying.
We got this forensic evidence, it all comes back.
You're a young lady, I once said, you're trying to make things fit, I've tried to put you and give you information that you can check. You all and your colleagues and them in there choose not to believe it.
The time now is 17:01 and no further questions. I'm turning the tape recorder off.
Cooper was held in custody until the trial, where his many victims hoped finally to see justice.
I know the levels of violence he can use, and it horrifies me that he's used them on other people. All this has dominated so much of my life, but I'm still having to go through this. I mean, I just want rid of this person. I just want my life back.
The long-awaited trial of John William Cooper began in March 2011.
You must judge me after the trial, not before. Judge me after the trial.
He was charged with the brutal murders of Helen and Richard Thomas in their home, Peter and Gwenda Dixon on the Pembrokeshire coastal path, and an attack on 5 teenagers in Milford Haven involving the rape of a 16-year-old girl and the indecent assault of another.
Even faced with substantial evidence, he would never admit his involvement in anything.
I'm disgusted that he won't give some closure to people out there. I'm disgusted. The trouble with the bully is, beating you is only half of their pleasure. The other half of their pleasure is knowing that you're scared of them for the rest of your life. And I believe that's what he's doing to these victims by not telling them.
Just get on the floor!
Dyfed-Powys police showed the jury the complex forensic evidence they'd spent years uncovering. Cooper had kept mementos of his offending that connected him to all of the crimes.
When you look at those links, it's quite a compelling forensic link. John Cooper to all those offences.
15 years on, the 2 girls who were raped and sexually assaulted described their experience to the jury.
To actually have to relive the smells and the noises and their experiences and what he actually did must be absolutely horrendous, and knowing they're doing that in a formal environment must be terrifying.
After suffering years of physical and emotional abuse at the hands of his father, Andrew Cooper agreed to testify for the prosecution.
I didn't have to go in the courtroom. I had a video link in the courtroom. I didn't want him seeing me. I just didn't think he had the right to even look at me after what the embarrassment he's brought on my family and me.
Some of his family supported John Cooper throughout the trial.
On one hand, I've got people having to go at me for helping the police to convict him. On the other hand, then, I've got people having to go at me for being his son. So I'm in a lose-lose situation. I did what I thought was right, and I'll stand by that, and I'd have done it again.
The trial lasted 9 weeks. The jury took 3 days to come to a verdict.
I remember looking at the jury and I thought, what they had to see and listen to would probably stay with them for the rest of their lives. The photographs, the consequences of what a 12-bore shotgun will do at close range. No human being should see that.
To see some of the jury members crying, holding hands, it was quite something, which I'll probably never ever experience again in my career.
Cooper was found guilty on all charges. To quote the judge, the murders were of such evil wickedness that the mandatory sentence of life will mean just that.
The impact was quite phenomenal. None of us could speak, I don't think, for a few minutes. Cooper is where he belongs. We had a debt of gratitude towards Steve Wilkins and his team that I don't suppose we'll ever repay. And the community